Over the past months, I've had the privilege to listen to so many mothers share their story, and it has inspired me. And today, I'd like to share my own motherhood journey. Motherhood to me has actually been about nurturing and loving. And for me, motherhood has been a bit of resilience and hope and love. When I got married 2017, I met the love of my life. I was really excited like every other person. And getting pregnant, I was so excited. I felt thrilled, I felt joy, I felt happiness. I felt this amazing feeling because I've heard stories of mothers waiting for months and years and years. I was like, oh, nice, I'm pregnant, I'm young, and I was filled with a lot of excitement. I got married and we scheduled my first ultrasound at 9 weeks. Everyone was happy, my mom, my siblings. We were so happy. And I got to the hospital. You know, as a young girl, I was just like, oh, I'm here for my first ultrasound. And the doctor was like, oh, welcome, you're first mom, right? And I was like, yeah. We started the ultrasound. And I did not start it. And she was like, oh, okay, let me get the technician. And that one was like, oh, okay, how about I go get the doctor? The doctor came and was just like, oh, just relax. I need you to just be yourself, you know, just relax. Just let me see how your baby's doing, you know? And I was so excited, like, oh, is he a girl? Is he a boy? I started asking all of this question, like, oh, I want to know. And it was like, oh, it's too early to know your baby's gender, but let me see how your baby's doing, you know? And it started the ultrasound. And there was this moment of silence. There was just this feeling in me. I just knew something wasn't right. Like, I knew something was wrong, you know, because there were like 3 people in the room alongside me. And there was just this ounce of, is everything okay? Am I gonna be fine? Am I sick? Is there something? And he was like, oh, I see a sac. I don't see an embryo. And I was like, oh, what does that mean? It was like, no, I don't see a baby. I see your sac, but I don't see a baby. And I was like, oh, probably check, you know, check down there. Maybe the baby's hiding, you know. And he was like, no, I don't see anything. I don't see an embryo. And I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, what do you mean you're sorry? Why are you sorry? This is my first baby. I'm married right. I stayed faithful. Why is this happening to me? And he was like, I need you to come tomorrow for a D&C to terminate the baby. I felt confused. And I went to meet my mom. I was like, Mommy, they said there's no baby. And my mom, she's in Nigeria. It's like, oh no, Maje. Meaning God forbid that's it. This is not what we prayed for. This is not what we hoped for. Called my husband. My husband was just keep speaking in tongues. I was like, no, like, that's not our story, right? And I was like, yeah, that's not our story. And you know, doctor was like, oh, you can talk to the nurse, like, you're gonna schedule your D&C tomorrow. I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, oh, we're just gonna give you an injection. And my mom was like, no. You know, my mom just kept saying to his face, like, no, this, maybe we'll show up, maybe we'll turn up, you know? And in that moment, there are some times that you go through things that you don't even have a prayer point. You know, you don't have a prayer point. You don't, at that point, I didn't know what to pray for. The only thing I could just say is, you're my father. And you're not gonna leave me. You're not gonna leave me because I've prayed, I've fasted. That's my own story. One of my stories. There's so many. And it has just shown me that God never leaves his own. And that is why I have this group of community women that we come together and hearing other women's story in the community because I trusted God, right? And I had faith. I'm thankful. I'm thankful to everyone. I'm really thankful. I feel like I'm a favored person. I say lucky, but my husband is always like, you're favored. And I'm thankful that my faith, even though it was as small as a mustard seed, it gave me a good impact. So, mothers, single ladies that are gonna be mothers, and daddies, because that's one thing we always leave out, right? No one talks about the dad. No one talks about the trauma. No one talks about what dad has been through, So, hearing all the stories and the promises I made to God, it has inspired me to continue my monthly support. And I want to thank all the community of women that have been part of this journey. During the first week of every month, I'll be selecting 5 women to receive monetary assistance. But beyond that, my goal is to build care, resilience, nurture, and a community of women that can come together and support each other. So if you're a mom and you're going through one thing or the other, I need you to know that you're seen, you're heard, and we're all grateful. It takes a village, right? And you're not alone. We're all in this journey together, and we're here to support each other. Thank you so much for letting me share my story, and I hope to see you next time.